Ladies and gentlemen, the mid-month sneak peek is here, and it could not be further from what we thought. Did the unbeatable Squirrel Girl really defeat Thanos? This is one of the most banger sneak peeks, so I got to show you guys in a full screen situation. All right, we got Thanos doing his farming. Yeah, that's crazy. And then we got Squirrel Girl. All right, so there's quite a bit to unpack here with this sneak peek. Let's go through it here. So this is Farmer Thanos, and if you guys don't know, if you read it's basically, you know, if you watched Endgame, right, after he uses the stones and wipes out half of humanity, he sort of like quote unquote retires. In Endgame, they find him at the beginning of the movie and he's making soup, but in the comics, he actually becomes a farmer. So the Farmer Thanos thing is steeped in the comic lore, and Marvel Future Fight actually memed on this in the 2016 or 2017 April Fool's Day announcement. So before MFF used to do uniforms, which they only started doing last year. So prior to 2022, in every year previous, they would just release a sort of meme, a meme page, a meme image. This was the first one. Thanos presents farming mode, new game mode coming soon. It was not an actual real game mode. It was just a meme on the, you know, like the comics, right? We had a bunch of other meme game modes like pixel graphics mode in 2018 to coincide with the X-Force update. There was a bunch of other meme April Fool's Day stuff. There was like a Gwenpool shop where you could do like Wolverine gets his nails done and stuff like that, face mask and all this kind of stuff. Anyways, that was up until last year, and obviously last year they started releasing uniforms. So this is not only a callback to the comics, this is also a callback to their own 2016 April Fool's Day. But this is the uniform we're getting for Thanos, by the way. This is a real April Fool's uniform. There's no Wolverine. There's no Rachel Summers. I was wrong about that. The data mines were... well, I mean, the data mines aren't wrong. Like, the data is still there in the game files. It's just that they're not choosing to use it yet. That might mean that they're planning to drop that update in the future as a regular update rather than as a seasonal update, right? But yeah, it'll come at some point. But yeah, this is going to be the uniform for Thanos. I think it looks amazing. Like, I think this uniform looks great. I love the white eyes. Some people say it looks kind of low res or low graphics, but I really like the way it looks. And I think he's going to look like, could you imagine getting your ass beat by this dude? Like, you actually got your ass beat by a farmer, no cap, which I think is hilarious. And then we have the evil squirrels, who look, you know, demonic and possessed. Now, if you look very closely at his hoe, at Thanos' hoe, there are some scratches on the hoe. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we got Squirrel Girl standing over Thanos. Now, again, this is a callback to the comics, where there was a comic issue where Squirrel Girl beat Thanos, and it was shown off screen, like it was shown off panel. So, you know, they don't actually show us how Squirrel Girl beat Thanos. Again, it's sort of a meme, but she did beat Thanos. And actually, there's a reference to that in the game as well. If you go over to Squirrel Girl and you check out her 4-star passive, I believe, or her tier 2 passive, it's one of them. It's called Cosmic Awareness. Oh, sorry, Cosmic Defender, and it increases her damage dealt to universal types by 25%. So this sneak peek, like this whole April Fool's thing is steeped in MFF and comic lore. This is probably the best way to do seasonal uniforms because it feels very connected and it really distances itself from the usual seasonal cash grab of just, you know, sexy female uniform, like Storm in a swimsuit, etc. And then just like whatever kind of male uniform that looks cool, right? So this time around, not only is it steeped in the comics lore, right? Like this is straight out of the comics for Thanos, but it's also steeped in the game lore. Now this look for Squirrel Girl is not in the comics. I could not find a single issue or panel that references this look in particular. There are a couple of drawings I could find of Squirrel Girl with red eyes, referencing a sort of like evil Squirrel Girl, but she still had like a gray and black outfit made of fur that's like regular Squirrel Girl. If you also, think about it, this uniform looks very similar in terms of the aesthetics of the uniform, the horns, etc., to the uniform we got last year for Thanos, right? So if you look at the Obsidian King, I believe it's called Obsidian King. If you look at the Obsidian King uniform for Thanos, you see the horns, you see the shoulders, the pauldrons, right? You see that sort of like insignia making a V on his chest, and then you see the gloves, right? And it's very similar to what we have here for her. Very similar. Very, very similar. So my guess is this is an original uniform, and it's sort of like Squirrel Girl turned evil. She went and stole Thanos' armor and put it on, and then she beat the shit out of him with the armor, which again I think is really hilarious, and sort of it sort of builds on the meme lore of this encounter between a girl who commands squirrels and one of the most powerful cosmic beings, not cosmic beings, aliens in the Marvel universe. So we get this little unbeatable tag here, and of course it glitches at some point. And that reveals the tier 3. So she's called the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. So tier 3 for Squirrel Girl. That's really cool. So Squirrel Girl is getting a new uniform and a tier 3. But as we know with these seasonal uniforms, it's always one male, one female, which means that Thanos is the other uniform. But now usually with these updates, it now also means one is tier 3 and one is tier 4. So where is the tier 4 clue for Thanos? Well, you have to look a little bit closer for Thanos. It takes a lot more work. It takes a lot more digging. Get it? Digging. I know. But big shout out to the sneak peek team. I haven't yet thanked them for how amazing this sneak peek is. But yeah, this sneak peek is one of the best. You can see here there are scratches on his hoe. I can't find a really good frame to show you, but the scratches are absolutely 100% there. And there's there's 4 scratches here, and there's a T there. So we all know what that means. It means tier 4 for Thanos. Not joking. 100% serious. But yeah. So Thanos is getting a tier 4 in a new uniform, a farmer uniform. And Squirrel Girl is getting a tier 3. And I think it might be here. Here we go. You can see it much more clearly here. You can see that there's absolutely something here. It's still a bit hard to see. It's still a bit blurry. But yeah, there's definitely 4. And there's definitely a T. Maybe on the way down. On the way down. Yeah, no. It's hard to see. But yeah, oh, maybe there, maybe right there. That was the one. That was the one. Yeah, this is probably where it's most visible and most clear. Yeah. So T4 for Thanos and the farmer uniform. But yeah, as far as the sneak peek goes, this is one of the best. You've got sound effects with the squirrels and with the rooster and the digging. You've got voice acting where Thanos is like, he's breathing because he's tired, whatever. And then you got the music to, tie things together. Oh! Yeah, just top-notch sneak peek. Again, the sneak peek team continues to be a huge part of what makes these updates still hype after all this time. They got rid of the APK, they got rid of Cage and Kim, but the sneak peek team continues to build the hype. So thank you to the sneak peek team for doing that. If we go over to the forums here, these heroes have changed their looks in celebration of April Fool's Day. The farmer on the squirrel field. Check out the new look and powers, which means like an upgrade, right? Of the Titan who is living a peaceful and ordinary life on the field. So Thanos is getting a new uniform and a tier 4. And the unbeatable squirrel who has taken her powers to new heights. So she's getting a new uniform and a tier 3. We will announce more information through the patch details later. So no Kang announcement here. No World Boss Legend. Probably no new actual content in terms of like game modes. We'll have to wait and see for the patch notes, of course, but I'm not expecting any. But we are getting these 2 characters upgraded, which I think is really good. So we'll talk about this now for just a couple minutes. Squirrel Girl, obviously, anytime a tier 2 gets their wings and becomes tier 3 or transcended with a new uniform, it's fantastic, right? As long as we can thin out the herd and the faster we can get to having 0 tier 2s, we're pretty close, right? If you take a look at this here, we only have 85 tier 2s left. After this update, it'll be 84. So we're already on, we're already on the back end, the back half. Or less, actually. We only have like a third. A third of the characters don't have tier 3 or transcendence yet. So maybe in another like 5 years. It's taking them so long. But anyways, there's not that many left, right? So anytime a tier 2 gets upgraded, it's very, very good, especially when they get a uniform. In the case of Thanos, I think a lot of people are rightfully confused because he got this uniform last year. And although he has been pushed out of the PvP meta by tier 4s, like Hulk, like Carnage, like Jean Grey, of course, Spider-Man even. Although he has been pushed out of the meta, he's still like somewhat relevant. He might be top 10. Like he might be justifiably in the top 10. He's certainly not in the top 5, so don't get that impression. But he definitely didn't need this upgrade. However, he does match the best with Squirrel Girl, and I do like the dynamic between the two of them. It'll be very interesting to see if they turn Thanos into a hero or into a neutral character, since this is his farmer look. They're probably going to turn Squirrel Girl into a villain, which is pretty cool. I hope it doesn't have too much overlap with Green Goblin, because we just got a speed villain, so we don't want to be overwhelmed with speed villains now. But what's interesting for Thanos especially is that this uniform is still really good for PvP. It has tons of healing, iframe ignore, lots of big damage and penetration. So what they could do, and what they absolutely might do, I'm not saying they will do this, but they might do this, is they might release the farmer uniform as a purely PvE option, right? Of course, the tier 3 stat bump, the tier 4 stat bump and all that stuff is going to make Thanos much more viable for PvP, even if he doesn't get a new PvP uniform, right? It's not like he's missing a PvP uniform and he's missing the PvP skills, right? It's not like a Spider-Man situation, or well, it wasn't actually that situation with Spider-Man, but anyways. So I could absolutely see them making this new seasonal uniform for Thanos PvE oriented, especially since when you look at ABX, or sorry, when you look at ABL, Alliance Battle Legend, we have this stage here. It's called Super Villain Alien. And right now, most players are using Loki, and it's pretty cringe to use a tier 3 in a game mode that came out after tier 4s were released, because it's obviously a game mode for tier 4s, right? And although there are some Giga Whale, Giga Chad players who can get very high scores with Loki, it requires a max build, it requires a lot of reruns, it's annoying, whatever. And again, it's kind of cringe. So I could definitely see them pitching this uniform as, a massive upgrade and a much easier time playing. And they love to milk the ABX player base and the ABL player base because they know they're competitive. So yeah, I could definitely see that. But yeah, as far as it goes, it should be, if those of you wondering, if the pattern stays the same, the Squirrel Girl uniform is going to be for tokens. So you're going to have to spend real money to get tokens to get Squirrel Girl's uniform. And then Thanos' uniform, if the strategy holds, his uniform will be 2,500 crystals with no refund, like with no discount. That's a lot of crystals. 2,500 is a lot of crystals for a uniform. Normally you would never buy a uniform for Jean or Thanos or Doom or whatever when it's off sale, but this is basically what that is. However, it is a seasonal uniform and they only come around once a year, so it's going to be tough to say no to. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Thanos and Squirrel Girl. Nuts time. And yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I'm honestly excited. I like this stuff, even though it doesn't include any game mode stuff. We still obviously need that, but I do want to enjoy this for what it is, because I do think it definitely fits the mold of April Fool's so much better than it did last year, and it doesn't feel like a forced, like they're not ruining any characters like they ruined Deadpool last year. So at least that, right? So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.